class to a video demonstration for your e-commerce project or your shopping cart project. I felt that the video needed to be a little bit updated. I have not updated the website. That is the look of the website, but I wanted to update the code behind the website. So I'm going to go through and step through the website the same that I did in my previous video, but just in an updated format. So you're looking here at the index page. Now your index page, totally up to you, your design. That's what makes you an individual web developer, and I want to see different looks from student to student. Okay, so absolutely create whatever design you want. I did give you a, your Blackboard content, I gave you a picture of just a local flower shop, and that flower shop was, I believe, Ken's Flower Shop. I'm just going to go ahead and refresh my memory here. Yep, kensflowershop.com, just to give you an idea of what their design was for their homepage. Now, I want your website to look great, okay, but I'm really interested in more about the functionality behind it, because that's what this project is about, is more about the functionality of it and kind of leading through and having database table involved and being able to query that table and so on. So this video is with more regards to that. So I'm not going to even look at my index page in any great detail. I will show you that in mine, when I click on flowers, so this is just my navigation here at the top. So when I click on flowers, then here's those 3 separate queries that I told you were required with regards to the project itself. So let me go ahead and bring up the project requirements. I explained in there that you needed to have a show types page, a show colors, and a show occasions. Well, I'm going to show you through the show colors page, and you're going to be able to create show types and show occasions just based on what I show you today with show colors. And I'm also going to show you show cart. Okay. Now, if you want to go ahead and add the payment side of things, I'm just looking for a page that gives me information about payment options as well as the delivery options. So nothing that's going to go through and actually, bring in credit card information and stuff like that. We don't have the capabilities to do that as students. Okay, you're definitely welcome to expand if you so choose to do that. But I'm going to focus on show colors. So in show color, this is what show colors looks like. Okay, so when I look at show color, so I click on flower color, and then I have a list of flower colors that I can choose from. So this is just a list that comes from my colors page. So actually, let me pull that up. So it goes index, then I click on the flowers page. Okay, so if you're looking at the top here in the navigation, it goes flowers. And then when I click on flower color, it goes to colors. If I click on flower occasion, it goes to occasions. If I click on flower type, it goes to types. And then when I dig deeper into colors and I click on a color here, it's going to go to show color. Same thing with occasions. When I choose an occasion, it's going to go to show occasions. When I click on a type, it's going to go to show type. Okay, so that's how I have it in my hierarchy. And I believe I showed you that right here. So we go down occasions, then to show occasions, and ultimately to show cart. That is the functionality coming from my home page. So let's go ahead and jump back to that show or that colors page to show you this. Here's the list of the colors. So here is my unordered list. Okay. And again, this has PHP code in it. If I recall correctly, every single one of you had PHP class. You may not be in advanced PHP, but you've had PHP class. If that's not your case, you need to let me know that, okay? So we have simply echo statements going to echo out that middle section. So when I go back here and I look at the colors, this is all PHP that was created for me, okay? Through this PHP section. Now what I want you to notice is that I'm using a query string here. So a query string starting with the question mark, and this is where I'm going to populate a global variable called color, okay? And it's going to be through the get auto global, and that's what we're going to pull in is the color, okay? When we do occasions, you're going to change this to maybe OCC or occasion equal, and then maybe it's weddings or maybe it's Mother's Day, whatever the occasion may be. And then when you're in types, the types might be roses, okay, or daisies, those kind of options. So colors page, occasions page, and types page are going to be built just basically like this with one PHP section. There's no other PHP in it, just this PHP right here. Bring it in, show me a list. Okay, you can style that list in any way you want. If you don't want to make it a list, that's absolutely fine too, but I just need to see some color options. And then from there, we go to show color because that's exactly what this URL says to do. Okay, so when I get to show color, this is where the action kind of happens. So with show color, we want to start a session at the top. Okay, so we're going to really start with sessions here in this file as well as the cart file. So sessions start, and I realize that those that have not had advanced PHP probably don't recognize that, okay? So session starts, and then right under that we have an include file. Now the include file is the information that I sent to you in email this evening, okay? So that information is right there. So I sent you along your username, your password, and your database name. So essentially you're going to use this file right here, okay? And you're going to just replace the information here. And what I'll do is I will just send you guys this INC Connect DB file. Most of you should have a file like that, but I'll go ahead and send this and you can go ahead and use it as your template. Go ahead and connect. Okay, so we include that file in, and then we go ahead and we get the color. Okay, so remember I showed you back here where we have the color. Okay, so the color, and I keep trying to move my code here, the color is stored in that get auto global because of the query string. So what I'm trying to do is now just retrieve it. I'm trying to retrieve the color and store it in a variable called color. Again, all part of a PHP section. Okay, and then we have a little section here that has to do with the cart, and I'll come back to that. Okay, so then this is just the design of the page again. So this would be what you have styled for your page. And then we get into the content area. So this is where I will go ahead and start to query the database. So I got two tables. I've got a flowers database and I've got a cart database. And I need to query the flower database, in this case, to find out which ones are that particular color that I clicked on. Okay, so I'm going to select the flower name, the color, the price, and the image, all from flowers, okay, where that flower color is equal to, say, red, okay? When I get my red flowers back, that will then be stored inside of the result, right? And then that result is used through a method called fetchArray. Let's just say I had more than one record in my database that had the color of red. It's going to go ahead and bring back as many records as there are. So if there's one record or if there's two records, it's going to be stored in this row, okay? And so then we use row to populate name, color, price, and image. And I'm just using those variables to build off a form. Now the reason I'm using a form is because I need to submit this as an item to a cart, okay? So I need to have that, and I'm going to just have the same action here, show color, and all of these things are really hidden, okay? You'll see the image. The flower name is there, but it's hidden, okay? And so let me show you that real quick here. So I click on red, and this is what I have displayed, okay? So show color.php color equal red. So this is the form that I built here. So let me go ahead and look at the form behind the scenes, and I'll blow this up here. So we have form ID. I should actually put a /n in there so that this is wrapped around, and I will do that. Form ID, and then here is my image. Okay, input type will hidden. Okay, I just have that flower name. Okay, this is all method of post, so this is my post auto global, and I'm saying along my name and red rose. Now, we did this in advanced PHP where we did hidden fields, and so this is just a practice of that. And if you didn't have that class, that's absolutely fine. You see the code right here. Okay, so flower name, and then we have red rose, flower color, red, flower price, it's 5. I'm just showing you that all of these fields are hidden. You don't see that displayed here, okay? And then we have quantity, okay? Value of 1 for the default, okay? And so we can change that. So there's that quantity of 1. And then submitted, okay? So I'm showing them information. Yes, I'm showing them red rose, okay? That's what's populated there. That's based on my code here. Okay, so image, I bring in the image. Image is coming from my query. Okay, and then I'm building flower. Okay, so this is what you see on the screen, flower colon, and then this is the name. So again, coming from my query. Color the same thing. Okay, this one I don't display on here. I don't need to say the color is red. They already chose red. So all I need to do is keep that information hidden because I need this information to add to the cart. This is the whole purpose of these hidden fields, is to add it to the cart. Okay, and then we have price. Of course, I want to show them what their price is. Okay, and then quantity, again, that is the input field, and then we have our submitted button. Okay, the submitted button's name is submitted, okay, and the ID is submitted, same thing, okay, and the value on there is add to cart. So that, again, that's just kind of the middle section there. That's for every one that would have that color. So let me jump back here and pick one that I know that has multiple colors, and that's yellow. Okay, so with yellow, we're running through the while again, and I've got 3 ones that come back with my records as yellow. Now, if I spent a little bit more time on this design-wise, I'd probably push them across here with columns, okay, and probably instead of having rows here. And I think that's probably just a simple fix of me just creating a nice little table that would wrap around these forms. So it depends on how many records that come back, depending on how many forms are actually created. Okay, because they can see all 3 of these. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to select just, you know, if I had one add to cart, it would make sense because you have 3 different flowers here. Okay, so if I go ahead and do this one and say add to cart, then I add it to the cart. Okay, so that is displaying and the querying to get it in to see how many are that particular color, okay? So let me just scroll back up and just kind of look at this here so that you can go ahead and have this in maybe one video shot. Okay, so there's that query. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this panel down here at the bottom. Okay, so select flower name, flower color, flower price. Now, depending on what you named your fields in your table, your flowers table, because it says from flowers here, and you could have named that something different, depends on what you have here as far as your query. Okay, where flower color equal that color, remember we're getting that from the get auto global at the very top. Okay, the following flowers are red in color. Okay, and then we go while, we're going to go ahead and run through all of the results coming back from our query and then build those individual forms. So let me go ahead and do just lastly before I go back here, let me go back to that yellow and go Control U. I want you to see that there is 3 separate forms here. So here's that one, here's the closing one. Again, I need to get a /n in there so that things lay out nicely. And here's that 3rd one. Okay, so that is how we build and output the colors that match the color that they select. Okay, now your colors might be different than mine. Your images definitely might be different than mine. Okay, And so that's what makes it individual. Now, I showed you how the page is built, but how do we actually add the item to the cart? Okay, so these names are going to come back into place here. Okay, so we have post. Remember I told you that these forms down, this form down here is of post. So form method equal post. Okay, and then we have value $ name, color, and price, and image. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the code up here. Actually, I need to not look at those. I need to look at name. My apologies. So name, flower color, flower price. Okay, and then we have name equal quantity or QUAN. Okay, so those are the 4 items that I'm going to, plus a total that I'm going to be adding to my cart. So I told you, I told you that the name of the submit button was submitted. Now you can shorten that to submit, whatever it may be. Okay, and then I'm taking back and looking at those names again. Flower name, flower color, price, and that QUAN. I'm also creating an item total. Okay, so we've got the quantity times the price. That will equal the total. We go ahead and round that to 2 decimal places. And then here's where we insert. Okay, so now it doesn't say query, it says insert cart. You can call it whatever you want it to on the left side. It's just holding what the query is on the right side. So I'm querying, inserting into cart. These are my fields that are in cart: session ID, item name, item color, item price, item quantity, item total. Okay, and the values are going to come from this. So cookie PHP session ID. Okay, so we're pulling whatever session ID we have, and that's how we're going to keep track of this. And then we have flower name corresponding here, flower color, flower price, and then there's that quantity, okay, and then item total. Okay, so we use that query string in our query here as well with our database connection. Right, and then we jump to showcart.php. Okay, so that's kind of the, I don't know, kind of nuts and bolts, meats and potatoes of what show color would be. And really it's the same thing for show occasion and show type. It's just that you have to go ahead and think about it in a different way. It's not about a color anymore, it's about an occasion. So the only thing that's going to change is your queries, okay? So let's go ahead and look at show. Let's look at occasion. Right, come on, there we go. So here's an occasion. If I click on wedding, here's some wedding flowers. Okay, and I can go ahead and click on, and maybe I'll do 10 of these, and go ahead and click on add to cart. Okay, so now I have tulip, $3 price, okay, quantity 10, $3 the item total. And so it doesn't matter where I'm adding them from, I'm still going to add it to the same cart. Okay, just looking at the time on my video here. I don't want to make it too lengthy. Okay, so that is your show color. Then we jump into the show cart. So how do we display the show cart? So here we want to start out with our session, okay, and include our database connection file. And then we're going to get that current cookie, okay, our current session ID from the cookie auto global, and stored in a variable called session ID. Okay, again, this is the layout, okay, this is your layout of your page. So this would be this stuff up here, okay, and then we're going to get into how do we create the information that's inside the table. So I'm going to just kind of go sequentially down because I think that's the easiest. Okay, so there is a remove item. When I hover over my remove item, I want you to look down the left side of your screen, and it says showcart.php, and then there's that query string. It says delete _ID. All of that mumble jumble there, that's your PHP session ID, and then item name equal Daisy, and item color equal yellow. Okay, that's my query string. okay, that I'm using to go ahead and remove that item from the cart. Now, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and show you what my cart looks like at this point. There's my 2 items that are in my cart. So you want to make sure that they're populating to the cart too. Well, of course, if they don't populate to the cart, they're not going to display in your cart page. But go ahead and check those in your cart. Okay, and then, so if we go ahead and remove it, we need to create some variables that will go ahead and do that for us. So again, the get auto global is getting that delete ID, item name, and the item color. Just as I hovered over top of this, right? That's all that information in that query string. Item name, item color. Okay, so I'm just capturing that information into PHP variables. Okay, so I can use it in my query string. So now I created a variable called delete query because there's multiple queries in this document, and I just wanted to make sure that they were clear in my mind as well as clear to you when you review this. So delete from the cart where the session ID is equal to the variable here, session ID, and the item name, okay, and the item color. Now I don't know if that's the best delete query, but that's the query that I have at this point. Okay, and then I go ahead and run that query through my query method, database connection, and the results are stored in delete. Okay, and then I also have a refresh query. So I've now deleted a record from the table, okay? And so let me go ahead and delete that right here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the daisy. Okay, and now I still have my tool up. So that's where this code comes into place, where we're going to now re-query the database. We're gonna select the session ID, the name, the item color, item price, item quantity, item total, so all the fields from the cart. Okay, and I guess I probably could do that asterisk, you know, where you select all the fields, where session ID is equal to the current cookie session ID. Okay, and then the results for that, as we know, we got refresh query here, that's all stored in refresh. Okay, so if not equal to refresh, the cart is empty. Else, we go ahead and we build a table. And we build a table so that we can output this current display of the cart. So if you wanted to display it in a different form, absolutely up to you. Tables are a good way to display carts. Okay, so we query, okay, we're using the results of refresh. Okay, so here's refresh. This is the results here. And we run through it one item at a time. Okay, one record, and each one of those are stored in item name, price, color, quantity, and total. Okay, and then we just output that information. Much like we did when we built the form for show color, when we were just building, say, the red flowers. Okay, and then there's that delete ID. Remember when I was hovering over that? There's how it was built right there. Okay, and then cart total. So just doing a calculation of what the cart total is down here. Okay, using a function there to go ahead and round. And then there's the end of the while. Okay, and then we have just some more formatting here. Okay, spitting out that cart total. Okay, right now we've got a horizontal rule that runs through here, right? You have a horizontal rule that's right under item total. So this right here is referring to this kind of imaginary row right here, but we have that underlining right there. And again, you can format it the way you want to format it, and then the closing of the table. This is the end of that if for if we're removing an item. Okay, and then we have the else side. So if we're not removing an item, we are querying the database. Okay, we now jump to the show cart page. Okay, and we're querying the database for the first time. So when I first went to the database, or first went to the show cart page, this is where it jumped into the else here, and queried. Again, I think I could get with this with all records, just doing that asterisk, because I think I got them all included there. And then, so if we get a result back from that query, we go ahead and we build the table. Okay, so this is where I would start if I were coding. Okay, is I would start right here. I wouldn't even worry about the removing of the ID right away. Just go ahead and start right here. Okay, in this line 105, and then start outputting your information from your cart. Okay, and then, because it's the same thing as you would see up at the top. Okay, if there's nothing to output, the cart is empty. Okay, so you either have records to display here, okay, or you don't. Let me go back and add a little bit more record in. So let's go into type. I'm going to go into Daisy. And I'll enter in 5 of those. Okay, so now I have 2 records in my table. Go ahead and browse, make sure that that's happening. And there is my Daisy. Those are those 5 quantity. Okay, and then they're added to the cart there. Okay, so again, that's the L side right here. Actually, scroll up here. So this query right here, build the table. Once you get that working, then go ahead and build the if up here that has the delete ID. Okay, and then build that solution in. And of course, that query is to delete. Again, I'm not quite confident, 100% confident that this is the best query for that delete, but that's the one that I have at this point. Okay, so remember the payment options, those here, just a page that has the payment options, be perfect, okay? And delivery options, again, if you wanna go through and incorporate a PayPal, that's totally up to you. I wouldn't make it live. We certainly don't want anybody going out there and purchasing something from a website that doesn't exist, right? So that's why I don't kind of require that. And again, your show types and your show occasions, they're just going to be essentially a duplicate of show colors. It's just that your queries are going to be different. Okay, so how did I do for time? Roughly about the same time. I think it's a little bit longer than my first video, but this one definitely is updated. So if you have any questions with regards to your shopping cart, please let me know. So again, we have, this week is what we should be working on. We should really be working on this code, getting it to work so that we can pad it with that last week before finals so that we're not running into that crunch, okay? So we don't want to be debugging during finals week. We want to be done, right? Because we want to just be done with the semester. Okay, so if you have questions, need me to debug, again, I'm going to review your tables, make sure that they're all the way that they need to be set up so that when you're querying your databases, everything goes smoothly. Okay, so thank you for your time.